It was 1986, in a quiet suburban town. There lived a couple, Donnie and Emily, who was the definition of a perfect couple. They both had good-paying jobs. Donnie was a chef, and Emily was a nurse at the downtown doctor's office. Donnie learned how to cook all types of food, from gators to shrimps. He was able to make things taste better than they were before, but Donnie does a few things that his girlfriend didn't know about. They both live together in a two-story house with a basement, but Donnie uses the basement as a place where he can cut up meat and uses as a man cave to get away from everything else in the world. Emily had to work later than usual, so Donnie had time for himself. What Emily didn't know is that Donnie was a murderer. He has been killing kids, and he brings them down to the basement to be gutted and cut into pieces, and he cooks them and eats them like a crazy man. He also kidnaps the kids to torture them until they die, and he cuts up body parts and anything that he can cut and makes them different than they were before. He does a type of surgery to make them disfigured. Faces all mangled, guts were cut out, and limbs cut out to look like a statue without arms. Emily walked into the house and shouted for him, but he couldn't hear her. Emily puts her stuff down on the counter and walks down to the basement and saw that he was cutting up human remains, and she shouted. Donnie turned around fast with blood covering his face and a big smile on his face, and he had crazy in his eyes. He gets up out of his chair and rushed at Emily as she ran up the stairs. Emily tried to leave the house, but Donnie shot her fingers in the door to the point where her fingers started to turn purple as the blood couldn't flow through them. Donnie takes the knife and stabs her multiple times till she fell to the ground. "You should knock next time," said Donnie. Someone called the police, and he didn't have much time till the police arrived. He can hear the sirens get closer and closer. He ran to the nearest window and opened it, then climbed out and ran into the woods where no one could find him. After fleeing into the woods, he felt a little bit of cold air around him, and then he saw a figure standing before him. "I know what you want, your desire. You want to be young forever and never age," said the figure. "Give me this power," said Donnie. The figure put his hands on Donnie's head and gave him the power he wanted. "From this day forth, you will call me Master," said the figure. "As you wish, Master," said Donnie. After that day, the children has been disappearing left and right for two decades, and no one knows where he is hiding now. It is said that he is still lurking in the woods, waiting for his next prey. Who knows where he will strike next?